Welcome to the Crystal Coach Show with me, your host, Anahata, helping you live every day with clarity, guidance, and practical wisdom. Are you feeling overwhelmed, anxious, maybe disconnected? Do you ever feel like you don't know how to live a life of peace and joy? I am Anahata Roach, the Crystal Coach, and during this show, we channel divine wisdom through stories of service, spirituality, and stones for self-care. The Crystal Coach Show leaves you with a feeling of connection and the clarity it takes towards becoming the best version of yourself as you hear from thought leaders and many others to help you ignite the crystalline nature of who you really are. Stay tuned. The Crystal Coach Show starts now. You and have you be joining us today. Me, myself, and I. Yes, the trio. Today is an auspicious day. It's the year 2025, January 20th. And it is also in America, the United States of America. It is the inauguration of our next president. It is also Martin Luther King Day. Now, Martin Luther King was an activist and a beacon of light and a leader of the civil rights movement in the 50s and 1950s and 1960s. And his message of love and trust in the greater good will resonate forever, really. And we celebrate his words and his deeds today. One of the things that I wanted to talk to you about, no, it is the thing that I wanted to talk to you about today is change and why it's uncomfortable and how you can get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because, at the start of each new year, there is an opportunity to begin anew. But it really does bring a sense of uncomfortable changes that may need to be made if you want to start something truly new and not just keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So I want to talk to you about the dynamics of change and how by ultimately making peace with yourself, becoming comfortable with being uncomfortable is really not as weird as it may seem. I want to start now with the fact that we're in the year 2025. In the Chinese New Year, which starts on the 29th of January this month, we will be moving into the year of the wood snake. Yes, the snake is now the featured zodiac animal for the Chinese New Year. I was looking this up because I was like, what does this mean? What does the year of the snake really mean? And actually, it is it's about transformation, spiritual growth, and introspection. So that's pretty cool, since we seem to be in a very transformative type of energy all around the world. And you say, well, what do you mean by that, Anahata? Well, let's talk about the word transformation. What does it mean, transformation? It actually means to completely change or alter your appearance or actions or deeds. It's going from one form to another. In a butterfly, the caterpillar becomes a chrysalis, which is an exoskeleton, and transforms into the butterfly within that chrysalis. It's not a cocoon, it's a chrysalis. It's a hard shell. And that very thing of caterpillar to chrysalis to butterfly is definitely a transformation. It's changing form. And one could say, as you look around the world, things are changing form. And it really seems, it's pushing you out of your comfort zone. I know it's pushing me out of mine. And So we have to think about when we're in a year of transformation, but also spiritual growth and introspection, what does that truly mean? From a Chinese astrology perspective, I found a quote out there on the interwebs from this author of this Chinese astrology, The Key to Understanding Yourself. The person's name is Master Chu K Tom. And she says, wise mantras for 2025 are act with diplomacy, avoid causing offense, and deal with the facts on hand and not those gleaned from gossip. She also says that 2025 is a year for listening to each other's needs and making the best endeavor to combine in a happy compromise. For to overassert your authority is to jeopardize your own stability. Thought that was really deep. I'm just going to let that sink in for a minute. To overassert your authority is to jeopardize your own stability. So when we're talking about this essence of transformation, I mean, you look at how things, sometimes they transform in a way that we don't perceive as good on the surface. For example, the fires in California, then previously the floods in on the East Coast and in the mountains of Asheville, North Carolina. There's earthquakes, there's tornadoes. I mean, I lost the brick and mortar touchstones of my hometown to a tornado in 2021. And so on the surface, it looks awful, but it has engendered, if you read some of the news reports, that's not all about things that are bad. It tells you that how people have come together, how people are working together to help each other. It doesn't matter who you are, the race you were born into, the gender you have. It doesn't even matter what your views of the world are. When you get into that kind of transformative experience through disaster, it can either trigger a response of fear or a response of love. And that we have seen over and over again, the outpouring of help and support to people that need it in times of need. This is the way, as they say in The Mandalorian. This is the way. So when change comes, it may be, huge, like a life altering, like natural disasters, or it may become in policy changes or laws, or it may come in how you feel about yourself and where you stand in the world. So I want to remind you all that change can be for good or for not. And it's sometimes temporary, but I choose to look at change as a way to grow for myself, mostly, but in the collective, I see an opportunity to grow. That change makes us uncomfortable. We're so happy in our box, our little box. We always know what's going to go on in our little box. We know all the sides and all the nooks and crannies and all the indentations on the walls. We know all this and we're comfortable. We get so comfortable in our boxes. It's so nice here. And then somebody goes and takes the lid off and drops a ladder down and has you climb up to see that there's a whole nother universe out here. It's uncomfortable. You mean I have to give up my box? I have to get outside of my box? Yes, my darling, you do. You absolutely do. So how do we respond when we start to feel uncomfortable? it's funny about New Year's resolutions. I don't do them anymore. I make intentions or I set a theme for the year for myself. And unbeknownst to me about the Chinese New Year, I'd already set my theme to be transformation. So I'm calling that into me. What does that tell you? I have to be getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. Even this topic today, I was uncomfortable with, having to talk about being uncomfortable, if you can imagine that, if you can feel that. But it's part of trusting that when the message is given and received, then it's all in alignment. So it's a message that I received that I feel is one that others can receive as well. Because the more we get comfortable in our uncomfortableness, the easier it is to be at peace with change, with the things that are going on around you. Especially for me, I'm holding space for the highest and best good for my country, the United States of America, and the world. The world, whatever's in the highest and best good, may it be this or better. Always. It's not time to stick your head in the sand and pretend that all this change around you is going to go away, even though I did say it was temporary sometimes. But that's just an emphasis on a different syllable. What I mean is that change can sometimes lead to, a complete redo. There have been times in history, you look throughout history about what has happened to people who are made to endure change upon change upon change upon change, and they get sick of it and they revolt, and there's all of this upheaval and it's uncomfortable. But out of that cauldron of turmoil and chaos comes the transformative, that's the word, comes a transformative essence of this new, beautiful, more stronger and solid outcome. Yeah. It's a cauldron. It's like to be uncomfortable is to be in this, what do you say when it's kind of not solid? It's not solid yet. It's amorphous, kind of like in this soup. It's not made, it's not gelled yet, it's not in form yet, but you can kind of feel all of the movement, like clouds, like gases kind of swirling around. That's the energy that we're in right now. This is a time for change. It's a time to witness and hold space for the outcome of highest and best good. However that looks, not for my personal good, but for the good of all. So when you're looking at this, as Dr. King would have us say, that you look at it not from the personal, eros, romantic, physical love, or even beyond the philia, the brotherly, sisterly love, the community love, that what I was referring to before about how people come together in community during disasters, how I wish we could continue that after everything's been cleaned up. No, I'm talking about what Dr. King said about agape. Agape is the highest form of love. That's the unconditional spiritual love. It's the love that, in my perception, we come from, we return to, because we are, at our very core, we are love. You know, I think I'm going to take a quick break. And when I come back, I'm going to talk to you some more about Dr. King and what stuff that he said that's really relevant today. I hope you'll come back and join me. It's a pretty uncomfortable subject to get comfortable with. I'll be right back. Hi there. Welcome back to the Crystal Coach Show, where we're getting uncomfortable talking about being uncomfortable and we're actually getting comfortable with talking about being uncomfortable. I was teasing. Before I went to break, I was talking about Dr. Martin Luther King and many of the sayings that he had that were, really focused on loving each other. And I was talking to you about agape, which is so different from the self. It's a selfless frequency of love that is applicable anywhere at any time, much like joy. Joy, can be held in times of uncertainty and also in grief. So we may grieve for that which is changing, but we can still hold joy in the hope for whatever's in the highest and best good for all of us. So I don't know about you all, and they're not an affiliate, and I'm not getting paid for this, but I use an app called Insight Timer, and every morning there is a quote, and people can respond to that if they want to or whatever, but there's just, I don't know, in this time when the messages are so negative and the messages are so filled with fear that are coming out, that we're listening to, this is all coming down to my mantra. We can either choose to live in fear or choose to live in love. That is our duality. That is our duality. Love versus hate. Yeah. Because hate is the manifestation of fear. So anyway, back to Insight Timer. So I opened up Insight Timer this morning, and here is a quote from Martin Luther King Jr. Love is the only force capable of transforming an enemy into a friend. Love is the only force capable of transforming an enemy into a friend. Now that's pulled out of a much, much longer speech, but that's the nugget of it. And what I found fascinating was the comments that were posted under that. There was someone from Ireland who posted a quote from Rumi, the Sufi poet. Love is cure. Love is power. Love is the magic of changes. Love is the mirror of divine beauty. I thought that was so pretty. And then, let's see. Another person here in America said, it is the most powerful force. Love freely, wholly, completely, always, in all ways. Upon doing so, the transformation happens within, and powerfully changes everything and everyone in your world. I took some screenshots, so bear with me. Here's another person in Australia posting. Powerful words to start the day. Is there really such a thing as an enemy? Or do we make it up based on our own perceptions and what we've been told? The more I cultivate love and healing inside myself, the less enemies I seem to have. How does this concept apply to war and when we are wronged, as Dr. King experienced? I'm not sure, other than holding true to love and maintaining our own way of being the best we can. So there's others in this world who feel as I do, that Dr. King did not speak or live or experience his lifetime in vain, but left a legacy of hope and a compass point to love. It is that agape, spiritual love, that is always present. I have to tell you, when my son was little, I used to say to him when he would do something that was really outrageous, I don't like you right now. You've made me mad. I don't like you, and I don't like what you've done, but I always love you. Always. Never doubt that your mother will always love you. And so agape is kind of like the mother's love. No matter what you do, there's a part of divinity in everyone. So love that part. Love that. Not the person, not the deeds, but that part that is as divine as you are. The agape, the spiritual love, can be held even if you don't agree, even if you don't like. But to hate is to side with fear. To hate is to put a vibration of dense fear energy into the collective so that it does nothing but manifest. Why would you want to do that? Why can't we manifest what Dr. King saw all those years ago? A day when everyone walks together in love and unity. It's not a dream, even though that was his dream. It's not just a dream. The more of us that can put our energies into love and hold that space, no matter what's coming at us. Yeah, fear is hard to get over. It's real, it's right there. And fear is useful. In a lot of cases, sometimes fear is useful, but not when it comes to choosing to hate. Because hate itself is like acid on the soul. When you hate, you're not in control of yourself. You're not in a place where you are acting even rationally. It's one of those things that you can just feel so intensely, it literally eats you up inside. Whereas joy, love, joy, I mean, the feeling of joy sometimes makes me uncomfortable because I want to cry, because it's so beautiful. And I think, oh Lord, I'm gonna mess my makeup up. And I get weepy with joy. These are happy tears. These are joyful tears that come to me when I'm feeling that stream of this unconditional love that I am. And you are. And you are, and you are, and you are, and you are. All of us are. We're not separate from one another. And fear, and those who would foment fear, want to separate us. But we're not really any different. We still come together in times of disaster to clothe and house and feed and offer support and nurse those who are sick and wounded. We come together in those kinds of times because that is what we are as humans. We are a unified vibration of love. And this makes us uncomfortable sometimes because we don't feel worthy of it, or we don't feel we can really do this. The more you practice gratitude, the easier it gets to feel that vibration of love, that vibration of joy, that vibration of acceptance. Because people that are different from you in the way they speak, in the way they look, in the country they come from, in their beliefs, that's an external difference. The soul resonates with love, no matter what package it's in. So if we hold the space for love, the highest frequency, not the embodied physical love, but the agape, and want only the highest and best good for everyone, for our countries, for our planet. This is the practice this year of transformation that needs us to get comfortable with on a daily basis. It's not impossible. Together, collectively, we can counter the fear with love. And so I wish you, my friends, so much love. Oh, I forgot. I have some stones that I could recommend while we're going through this transformative time that can help you to feel less stressed out, less fearful, and to support your transformation, your own personal transformation. Emily, let's take a quick break. Producer Emily, let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll have some stones for you. Welcome back to the Crystal Coach Show. I'm your host, Anahata, and we've been talking about transformation and the year 2025 and being comfortable with, or getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, or being uncomfortable and getting comfortable with it. However you want to say it. That's what we're talking about. And so one of the things I wanted to leave you with is just a few suggestions for crystals and stones that you might want to have with you during this year, just to help you cope with the uncomfortableness and finding peace. Yeah. So first one, I mentioned before about acceptance, the acceptance of the way things are and allowing it to be it's the way it's showing up, right? Because you're holding space for the highest and best good. Yeah. So this is called lepidolite. I've shown it to you before. Lepidolite, lepidolite. And it comes in a lot of different forms, but it's a kind of a purpley, shiny mica like substance that usually presents as a pretty flat piece. And the flat pieces are great to slip under your pillow and between your pillow and pillowcase at night, on the backside, not on the right back of your head. And that helps you just kind of calm your mind. The main chemical in lepidolite is lithium, which used to be used back in the day as a sedative. So there you go, lepidolite. The other thing that is, it's like, well, since this is a year of transformation, why not drink from a fire hose? This is moldavite. Moldavite is the transformation stone. And if I could shine a light through it, you'd see that it's clear and it's green. It looks black on the screen, but it's not. It's beautiful. And it was formed when a meteor hit the Earth, and the meteor merged and fused with the Earth's crust, which is primarily SiO2, which if you flunked chemistry, you know that you don't remember that that's actually SiO2 is a formula for glass. So most crystals are, the clear quartz crystals are SiO2. That's the main ingredient for Earth's crust. That's kind of cool, isn't it? Now, the other, but moldavite, honestly, that is the transformation stone. The energy it carries of that of change and transformation. So it's almost like a homeopathic kind of thing to hold or have moldavite with you as you navigate all the change and transformation. So, but I told you that I'd have some other stuff. Okay, so this is called bloodstone. Bloodstone is a very dark green with some iron inclusions in it that look like drops of blood. They're bright, kind of red-orange. And bloodstone is the stone that helps you face your fears and go forward. Face your fears and do it anyway. And I've had bloodstone here with me while I'm talking to you about being comfortable or getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's my show. It's my topic. Why can't I get it right? Anyway, the other one that I wanted to show you is called hiddenite. Now, usually it comes in a very small little pieces, but hiddenite is a light green, kind of a greenish color, and it kind of sparkly. Not in a star-like sparkle in a way, but it does like in a selenite way. It just has an iridescence, a chatoyance, as they say. And hiddenite is all about gratitude. So if we can keep gratitude as a primary emotion going through as we walk through the valley of whatever, yeah, keeping gratitude in our hearts rather than fear will help us navigate and be more present in our bodies so that we're not being driven off track by hearsay, by gossip, but really hone in what is true. What is true, not as what is conjecture, not as what is a falsehood, but what is true. What is true for you. Not what somebody else says is true, but what is true for you. Okay. Now, let's see. Oh, another thing that's really going to help you cope with the changes and being uncomfortable in this year is black tourmaline. Black tourmaline. Black tourmaline is my go-to stone. I have a lot of it. It transmutes negativity to clear light. It's about purification. It really helps to absorb negativity and toxicity. And I'm talking energy-wise. Okay. And then I have actually, this one wanted to come today. This is my big honking piece of heart-shaped malachite. You can see the heart in the malachite here. And the malachite's coming to say to you that Sometimes in the midst of chaos, when fear is all around us, if we trust in the divine's will, if we trust that things will work out in the highest and best good, we do not have to live in fear. We trust, and we wait in that trust with hope, holding joy. Malachite heart, sending you love. Some of these other ones I had just for me. I've shown you this one before. Never fails. This is pink quartz, rose quartz, right? Rose quartz. Rose quartz is all about love, the vibration of love, and love of self, first and foremost. I've told you this before. All the love you've ever needed and craved is inside here in your heart. It's in you because we come from love. Just tune into that love. Fear masks the love that's there. Don't let fear win. That's what 2025 is all about, the whole transformational experience of choosing love over fear. Because love, as Dr. King says, is the only force capable of transforming an enemy into a friend. Get comfortable being uncomfortable, and I'll see you next time on the Crystal Coach Show. I love you.
You have been listening to the Crystal Coach Show, helping you live every day with clarity, guidance, and practical wisdom. With me, your host, Anahata. Tune in every first and third Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific Time on TransformationTalkRadio.com, where we channel divine wisdom through stories of service, spirituality, and stones for self-care. Feel connected and reside in the vibration of love on The Crystal Coach Show. For more information and to become the best version of yourself, visit thecrystalcoach.com. That's thecrystalcoach.com. See you next time.